Hi, I'm JB with Moss Epoxies. We're here at ShipShape TV's archives going through some of the great video that they have and tips and techniques and how-tos so that you can see how to use our products.
Let me bring you up to speed on what we've had to do so far to the boat to get it ready to put in the stringer system and the draining system. Originally, this vessel had an inner liner in it along with a deck, and we didn't really like the layout of the inside of this boat. And a lot of boats out there are like this, where they have a really good, nice hull on them, but they lack functionality on the inside. So we changed things around on our boat. What we did is we cut the inner liner out by using a circular saw. We came down maybe 4 or 5 inches off of this gunnel right here, and we just followed the entire inside of the structure and got that down away from the boat. Then we sectioned it in order to lighten the weight so that we could remove it from the vessel. Now, we also noticed that the wood on the transom was very wet. In fact, it was so wet it could have very well been rotted, especially down low. And after closer examination, that was the case. After we discovered the failed wood, we thought that it would be more prudent if we replaced the entire transom rather than just a section of the transom. And how we did that is we had to cut the original inside skin of fiberglass away from the boat. We used the cutoff wheel for that, and we pried that skin away from the wood, and then began the laborious task of removing the wood from the transom. Literally, this took us over a week to do. We used a combination of power tools and hand tools to do it, and it was just little by little, piece by piece. After we got all of the wood removed from the boat, that left us the outside skin of fiberglass. Now, to build a new transom upon that outside layer of fiberglass, we had to prep the surface. We used a grinder and a 36 grit wheel to do that, and now it was time to pattern for our new transom. What we used here was door skin. It's a great patterning material, and all we did is we transferred all of our curves and all of our radiuses onto our pieces of door skin. We did this piece by piece, and we glued everything together so that we had one complete pattern for this transom. We took that to a 4x8 sheet of plywood, we traced it out, we cut it out, and dry fitted it into the boat. We were very fortunate here. One piece of plywood was going to be able to fit in there. It's going to be very structurally sound. This is what we used. We used 5/8 inch thick marine grade plywood for our first layer. And what we had to do is we had to make sure that we put some type of a fiberglass mat in between the original fiberglass layer of the boat and in between this new piece of plywood. We wanted to make sure that these two substrates were going to bond together. And once we wetted that mat out, we put the piece of plywood in, making sure that we encapsulated every square inch, going around all the edges. We don't want this new transom to rot out on us again. Now, what we did from there is we built the transom's thickness. We went with a total of 4 layers of 5/8 inch plywood. Again, by tracing it out using our template onto 4x8 sheets of plywood. And we didn't have to use fiberglass mat in between the layers of plywood. We were using a construction process called gluing and screwing, where we just painted all of the surfaces of our wood with epoxy resin, and we temporarily screwed them into place until the epoxy cured. Once the epoxy cured, we removed the screws and we filled in all of the holes with resin, and then we used this material right here. This is a stitched biaxial fiberglass cloth. It's called 1708. We tied it into the rest of the boat by bringing the cloth around, coming up the hull sides, coming up the hull bottom, and rolling onto the bottom side of this transom cap. And let me tell you, we again have a rock solid transom and hull, which is a great foundation to build upon.